Trump Media just signed a massive $6.4 billion deal with Yorkville Acquisition Corporation and Crypto.com, the crypto platform that's trusted by millions of users worldwide. They're teaming up to acquire up to $6.4 billion in CRO to establish America's first publicly traded CRO treasury, Trump Media Group CRO strategy. Once complete, this new company will be the largest publicly traded CRO holder out there. So if you're ready to join the crypto revolution, head to Crypto.com today and be part of this historic move. That's Crypto.com. Don't wait. For more information on the proposed business combination, check out Yorkville Acquisition Corporation's public filings. Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. We appreciate you being here. A huge honor for President Trump today, as he is the recipient of the inaugural FIFA, which is soccer's governing body, Peace Prize, You can see him being confirmed the prize by the head of FIFA right here. He was awarded this medal that he's putting around his neck right now, as well as the trophy that you see there in the middle of the two men. All of this happening within the last hour and a half. Again, President Trump being awarded the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize. This is the first prize, and President Trump is the first recipient thereof. All of this also happening, by the way, as FIFA is preparing to do the drawing for the upcoming World Cup in 2026 will be hosted by the United States as well as Canada and Mexico. In fact, the president of Mexico, along with the prime minister of Canada, are on hand for the drawing, and then the rest of the teams will be drawn later on today. The United States, Canada, and Mexico automatically qualifying for the tournament as the host countries. There are dozens of other teams that will be drawn later on today and put into groups to ultimately play the tournament. The United States, of course, hoping to bring home its first ever World Cup victory, actually winning the World Cup itself in 2026. We, of course, will have more coverage on that throughout the day and leading up to the World Cup itself. For now, that's going to do it for your headlines. We appreciate you being here.
Democracy lives in light. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We're in our hour 2 on Friday. That means we're taking your questions, and we are going to get to Robert's question in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about the good folks over at Hillsdale College, the amazing folks. History, economics, the great works of literature. Did you study these things in school? Probably not, but even if you did, it's probably time for an enjoyable refresher. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses. Charlie took 31 of those, including their newest course on totalitarian novels. In this free 8-lecture course, you'll learn from Hillsdale College President Larry Arnn, as he goes in-depth on 4 amazing novels: 1984, Brave New World, Darkness at Noon, and That Hideous Strength. And even though these novels were written in the 1930s and 40s, they are highly relevant today as they show what a tyrannical government can do to human nature. But most importantly, they show us why faith, family, friends, and this country are still worth fighting for. Maybe you read these books a long time ago in school. Maybe you've heard others talk about them and they seem a little intimidating. They don't have to. Let Hillsdale College help you make the most of them. Go right now to charlieforhillsdale.com to enroll. There's no cost, easy to get started, easy to enroll. That's charlieforhillsdale.com, charlieforhillsdale.com. All right. Blake, you want to take a stab at Robert's question about the film?
So Robert had 2 questions. We'll hit the more fun one first. He asked about whether if we would work with Angel Studios on a Charlie biopic. It's way above my pay grade on that question. Obviously, whether any film is made about Charlie is a question for Erica to decide, and I have no idea what offers she's received in that way, what her own thinking on this is. I genuinely just don't know. I think my suspicion is it's probably very likely we'll get one eventually, because Charlie is just such an icon to so many people, and his life, it truly has a cinematic quality to it. He built something so immense and so successful from such a young age, from nothing, really came from no strong political background, no establishment background. It was just his pure energy, his force of will. He drew people to himself. He made people believe in his mission, and just the faith angle as well. His faith grew throughout his life, and he truly died a martyr. I have to imagine. I very much understand why so many people think a film of it would be good. It is very funny. I just do have to say I did chuckle at the suggestion of Chris Pratt, because I checked and Chris Pratt is 46 years old. It would be there would be something interesting about him playing a person who was 15 years younger than him when he passed. But I don't know. How do you feel about it, Andrew? Would it be, on the other hand, would it be too real?
Well,
would there be something fake about seeing someone else play a man that, both of us knew so well?
Listen, here's what I'll tell you, is that it's probably going to happen. The question is how, and I think there might be multiple, because I can already tell you on the documentary side, there's going to be multiple. There already are a few. I think Daily Caller just released one that they did. The folks behind The Art of the Surge are doing one, because they traveled with Charlie to Greenland, and they had a bunch of footage from behind the scenes. So on the doc side, we're going to have that, and then of course Turning Point USA, the team has more footage than anybody. I mean, the team followed Charlie around for years, and I was always sort of wondering why is this camera going and I never see this footage. Well, now we have this amazing storehouse of just never before seen footage of Charlie. So that is something the team is working on as well on the Turning Point side. And so that's going to happen. And I know that there are people that have already contacted me and us about making films. And to Blake's point, it's kind of all in Erica's. That's a decision for her to make, and we sort of entrust that with her. And I know she's talking with really great people, and so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, we don't know the answer yet, but
so the second half of Robert's question, because we also want to hit that, is he asked about H-1Bs. I don't know if we still have them, but I think he said it took him 5 years to get a job in a tech-related field, and that's a field where we're told we have a huge talent shortage, and so that's why we need so many H-1Bs. Hundreds of thousands of people have come to America as H-1Bs. For those who have forgotten, to remind you, the H-1B visa is a skilled worker visa. It is for companies that say they have a position that cannot be filled by an American worker, so they need to bring in someone from abroad. It's become extremely popular in Silicon Valley, and it's certainly become very controversial. A lot of people have called for ending it outright or radically curtailing it. President Trump himself has defended it. He defended it in the case of, for example, we've been building these chip plants in the United States, and he said, well, you're going to need these foreign chip experts to get these plants up and running. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. And there's something to be said for that. But there is also a very real fact. We have gotten addicted to this, and that addiction, like any other addiction in your own personal life, it makes us weaker over time, and it makes it hard to break. We have damaged America's ability to be skilled in highly technical fields because of H-1Bs. It's lowered the salaries in a lot of those fields, so they're less appealing than going into something like law or medicine, where there's more of a barrier to foreign competition. And it's made it so there's companies that have just gotten used to, rather than having to train up American workers who are fresh out of college, we can take these people who have 3 years of experience from abroad, and we don't have to do any training, saves us money, and makes it all easier for us. And it's a complicated thing that we're going to need. I think we should dial back H-1B. Well, I definitely think we should dial back H-1Bs, maybe even have the goal of ending it entirely. But we do need to have a plan for how we're going to, for example, incentivize companies and say, we will encourage you to train employees fresh out of college or even fresh out of high school, so that you have an incentive to teach Americans to do this job rather than just rely on foreigners to do it. Another thing I'd point out is it's not just H-1Bs. It's become the symbol of this problem, but there's a lot of other visas out there, so we need a total spectrum look. One that's known is the OPT. It's not quite a visa. It's called Optional Practical Training, and it's a program that's available for foreign students where they can stay in America longer working in a job related to their field of study. And there's been whole cases where companies like Microsoft have used this as a shadow H-1B program to get more foreign workers without getting H-1Bs. So it's definitely a massive issue for America. It's one Charlie was very aware of. It's one I told him a lot about. I was saying, this is bubbling up badly. People have become really aware that their job opportunities are getting hobbled because we continue to bring in a lot of foreign workers. And especially now that the border has been secured, people are looking at the other sources of immigration-related problems in American life. So you're absolutely correct. It's a thing we need to talk about. It's a thing Vice President Vance has talked a lot about. He might even talk about it at America Fest, so definitely tune into that. Do you have anything to say on that, Andrew?
Yeah, I want to add two things. One, that Robert was having trouble getting interviews even, but it took him years to get hired. And one thing I would just say is a problem that has been reported widely when it comes to H-1Bs is that you have some of these cultures that you bring in. Now remember, I'll just stating the facts: 70% of H-1Bs go to Indians. Another 10 to 15% go to the Chinese, and 80% of H-1B visas go to for entry-level jobs. So this is a direct problem, assault on the youngest Americans that are just getting into the workforce. So it's a huge, huge issue. But one of the things you notice is that, and I've heard this just repeatedly, Robert, I don't know if you have an anecdote that would underscore this, but they tend to hire other people from their culture. So if one of these H-1Bs rises through the ranks, they become a hiring manager. They tend to hire other people that are closer in cultural affinities or affiliations to themselves. And so that's not necessarily a good thing for native-born Americans either. So that there's multiple problems, some are cultural, some are structural, that are injected into the system when you are addicted to foreign labor. It's just the facts. I think we might have lost Robert. Should we take the next one? Let's take Gina's question. Gina, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. What's your question?
Hey, thanks, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My heart's broken with the things that are going on with Candace. And I'm trying to make it all come together. I'm sure I'm not your only fan that is trying to do that because of the relationship that she had with Charlie. And one thing that I'm just trying to make come together in my head is why the invitation was extended to Candace, but not to Candace directly. Blake, I think you tweeted something out, and I don't know if, I don't know what's truth and what's not, but I do know that she said she didn't even see the invitation, and it was issued, Blake, I think at 12 on a tweet that you had, or at midnight, 12, not noon, midnight. And so it was like 9 hours later before she even knew that you said anything about her attending the show. And then she's saying she can't attend in person. Can she attend on a live stream or, and you guys do live streams all the time. And is that going to be an option?
Of course, Gina.
I'm just trying to make this come together.
Of course, Gina. So first of all, our initial statement, it was on the show on Wednesday. I made it at the request of Erica. All of this has been at the direction and approval of Erica because she heads this. And so what we were announcing there is we said she has said things that are not true, and we did not address them for a long time. We stated the reasons why, that we thought a lot of them were just not, how to put it, we initially just thought no one would believe a lot of what was being said. And we also we remembered the same friendship that Charlie had, and we just hoped that this would go away without requiring any sort of direct statement or confrontation from us. So what was approved is we announced we are going to respond to this. And what I said was we are going to announce a date soon. We actually hadn't agreed on it at the time I read the statement. We're going to announce a date where we're going to respond to this. And once we announce it, Candace is free to attend in person. That is what we announced. And so once we agreed on a time, I announced what the time was going to be. Candace, for her part, had said, you name the time, you name the place. That is what we did. As for why it was put out at that time, I would just say I don't think she had any difficulty in finding out what our scheduled time was. It seems everyone found it out quite quickly. And lastly, on the point of why it's in person, I think it's pretty intuitive that given what is being said, the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed. And That is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate. But regardless, it is going to go forward because we have agreed that some response needs to be made. And so that's going to happen when we announced it on December 15th.
Yeah, and we actually got to hit it.
I'm one person,
Gina,
but
yeah, Gina, I'm sorry, we got to hit a radio break here. We can keep going in the break if you want for if you have a follow up. We'll be right back. We're gonna take a break from radio. We'll be right back.